Hello, Connie. Can you hear me?
Bonjour.
Bonjour, madame.
Comment allez-vous?
Ça va très, très bien.
I am lost. You wouldn't believe this, but I made a family give up their pizza last night, and they drove me to this campsite. And I was 10 miles off course this morning, so I had to walk 10 miles, and I just walked 20 miles to get to Reims, France. And now I'm lost again trying to find my pilgrim house. And I'm on Google Maps.
That's
but I'm
amazing.
Here. So I'm just going to be listening while I'm trying to find this place.
You're amazing. This is so cool. I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to introduce you so you can tell everybody where you're at.
Okay.
So cool.
Okay. And I still want to go to Rome with you guys anyway, even though I'm going there myself.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's going to be great. Look at you, like walking the world. It's so cool.
Yeah. And
you
I'm
look
by
great.
the canal and everything. And that's Reims. I just saw the girls go by on the crew team.
Amazing, amazing. It's so cool. And it's so fun that you're calling in for the meetings and we get to see you wherever the heck you are across the pond.
Yeah. I'll be here a couple of more months.
Are you having fun?
Yeah, but you know what? I'm really sick of potatoes and bread.
Hold on a sec. I got to take this call in case somebody's lost.
Okay.
Bridget speaking.
Okay.
Hello?
I'm gonna go find my map.
It was a spam call. Hi, Tamalee. Connie is calling us again. She's lost in France somewhere. She's just walked 20 miles to get back on track.
Oh my gosh. What a place to get lost.
Right?
I know. Yeah, but it's telling me I'm getting closer to where I'm going.
Well, that's good. It's so cool. Like, just off she goes. Some strangers gave her a ride to a campsite and she found herself, what was it, 10 miles off course?
Oh. Well, yeah. Well, they were like going inside with the pizza to eat dinner. And I was like, I had no water, nothing. I was in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, can you guys drop what you're doing and take me to the hotel? And then they took me to this place and they said they had no room. Then it took me to a campsite.
Do you have a tent?
Yeah, and so I just walked like 25 miles today and I'm still lost.
Unbelievable.
Oh. Yep. But I actually stayed in a castle and then I stayed in a homeless shelter. Then I stayed at the parish and I stayed with the nuns at the abbey. So I've stayed a bunch of different places, but I did ask the family I stayed with if they always eat like this. You know, this French culture, they have like salad or something, and then they have all this food, and then they eat like cheese and wine, and then they have dessert. I'm like, you guys always eat like this? They didn't know what to make of me, I guess.
So cool. Are you taking notes so you can share stories?
Oh, I'm writing a sentence a day. That's about the best I can do.
That's all you need, right? Because it will remind you of stuff. Then later on you write.
Right.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. We're just talking to Connie, who's in France, walking.
I love it. Yes, that's great. I'm so glad she could join us.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
She was just stalking. Somebody gave her a ride last night to a campsite, and she's walked 20 miles already today because she was off course.
Oh.
So cool. So cool.
Okay.
What a story she's building here.
Right?
Stories and memories. It's gonna
Oh,
be
so
wonderful.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just got to check everything here. It was funny because Lorraine made a comment in the group that she was going to pop in, and I'm like, are you not sharing a story? Like,
that's
it's
what I
not that I'm
thought.
just going to pop in today, and I'm like, you're in front of
I'm
the
lost.
storyteller.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Clément, est-ce que tu sais parler anglais?
Trying to find.
Do you need a translator? Connie, do you need somebody to
Yeah.
help you?
Yeah. I'm trying to find an address here.
What are you trying to find?
Okay.
Elle est perdue. Elle a besoin d'une adresse.
What are you wanting?
This is where I'm going right here.
You need to go right here.
Yeah, to there. I don't know where I am.
If you want to go to there, you need to stay here in the bottom of the.
Yeah, okay.
And
then-
you walk until a big bridge with
okay.
how to say that like la tramway.
The big bridge.
With a big bridge with I don't have the word.
I can help
They have
you.
a railing on it.
Tramway with a like train.
Okay, a train bridge, right?
Yeah.
The train. Yeah, the train.
Not the, like the. I don't have the word.
C'est quoi le mot en français?
Wait a second.
They can't hear you.
Like that.
Okay.
A bridge with that in.
Tell him to say it in
Okay, the
French.
train.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. There is like 1 kilometer away.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
There's
then-
a big bridge with the train with a.
Do I go on? Do I go up?
Yeah, you go up. Can I see the map?
It's connected to my hearing aid. I don't know how to. Okay.
Tell him to say it in French and I'll
Yeah.
translate.
Yeah, you go on the now you walk. Okay. You walk here.
Yeah.
And when you found a big bridge with a train, you go up
And then go
and
to the right.
you turn to the right. Yes. And after that, you follow.
Okay.
You follow
Okay,
the.
so go down and up and then there. Okay.
Yes.
Mostly. Thank you.
Je sais pas dire merci. J'ai pas
Okay.
super bien.
All right, I got it. All right, thank you. It's connected to my hearing aid, and I have to go to the app to disconnect it, so they can put it on speakerphone.
Well, if you're ever
Here we
really
go again.
stuck, if you're ever really stuck, you can call me. I translate for you.
Okay. All right.
All right, we're gonna start here. We're still waiting
Okay.
for Lorraine. You're sideways.
And sorry to make you wait.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So we're gonna start with the video. I'm gonna mute you for now, and then if you need to talk, you'll have to unmute yourself, Connie.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. I got it now.
Perfect. I love this so much. I love this so much. It's so cool. All right, ladies, let's get the show going.
Hey there, buddy, are you doing alright? I'm doing great, as a matter of fact. I'm on the road. Yeah. The bad days are gone.
Well, good afternoon. It is afternoon. It's exactly 2 minutes afternoon. Welcome, everybody. I'm always like multitasking, people trying to find the link. It's truly amazing. Whenever you're hosting events or you're doing a workshop, the moment you're sick and tired of hearing yourself repeating yourself, do it 10 more times because still half the people have not seen it. It's totally, it is truly something you must do is really repeat and put it everywhere because people are busy and they don't see stuff. So my name is Bridget. For those of you who don't know me, I am the founder of Women Talk, and I absolutely love storytelling. I like to call myself the story warrior, and I also love to MC events. So if you're ever looking for an MC, I am your girl. Today, we have 2 storytellers. Usually, we only have one, but this was a very, very popular topic, the best book ever. So we might do this event again because I had a couple more people wanting to share a book story. So keep your eyes up. We may have another one. Now, for those of you who are not members, we do weekly events. This is the first time we do one at noon. So we may do some more of these depending how many people show up, but we have at least one event a week, and we also have in-person event, conventions, workshops, all sorts of good things. The membership is $10 a month. That's it. $10 a month, and you get all the online events for free, and you'll get huge discounts on any workshops, conventions, all sorts of good stuff. And my next workshop is actually this Saturday. And this is one of my favorite workshops because it's all about discovering your stories. I had one of our members attended the last one, and she said she left with 185 ideas in 90 minutes. So it really, really works. And it works because everybody in the group is involved and shares their thoughts. And I try to make it fun because that's what I do. And yeah, maybe you want to be all shooken up like Elvis. So come and check it out this Saturday. And I always try to make it fun. And I think that's it for all of these little announcements. I know we have more people coming, but we're going to start anyway. Today, our first storyteller is Lorraine. Lorraine, hi.
Hi.
You had me worried there when you said you were going to pop on today. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to pop on? I was a little worried. So you are going to share with us your favorite book story and what it did in your life. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about you, and then let's hear your story.
Thank you so much, Bridget. You're so amazing and positive, and good Lord, what an introduction. I really love storytelling. And honestly, I didn't write anything down. I didn't prepare a speech. I just thought, let it come from here and it'll fly. So, and then I went through my cell phone where I have Audible, which I love, by the way. I love listening to stories. That way I can do the dishes, make the bed, go for a walk, go shopping, and I can listen to a book. And so I've got a little list of books that I absolutely love. So the first one is A Man Called Otto. And now there's a movie about that. And oh my goodness, getting a phone call.
Between you getting a phone call and Connie being lost in France somewhere, trying to talk to French people.
That's funny. Anyways, A Man Called Otto is one of my favorite books. And I've seen the movie 4 times, and I would go again in a heartbeat because it's so relatable to me. The other one is Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey. And the other one is Where the Crawdads Sing. Oh my goodness. All three of those are amazing. But my all-time favorite book, and I've listened to this one and read this one, I don't know how many times, is Finding Chica by Mitch Albom. He's written a lot of books. And this one is actually, I find, a lot more spiritual than the other books. And Rebecca, the third one, Where the Crawdads Sing. Anyways, Finding Chica. It's on the front page. It says a little girl, an earthquake, and the making of a family. So Mitch Albom, for those of you who don't know, he's written a lot of books, and he's actually sports broadcaster. That's his big deal. But he's written a lot of books along these lines. And the reason I love this book so much is because it's so relatable to me. I was once a little girl, never in an earthquake, and I had 7 younger brothers and sisters. So I was not alone ever. And maybe that's why I love to read, because that's my alone time, right? I remember wanting to read when I was a young child and curling up with a book. And I could never do it because my mom, imagine having 8 kids, no running water, no electricity, on the farm, trying to manage this family. And so my reading was interrupted many times by my mom saying, I need your help. There's laundry to do. Nothing to do with this book, but it gives you a little background on who I am and why I love this book so much. So this little chica, Mitch found in an orphanage in, oh my goodness, losing my mind, in the island that just had another earthquake. She was 3 or 4 years of age, and he just adored her, but they found that she was having some kind of medical problems. Haiti, that's where. The island is Haiti. And sorry if I'm all over the map, but you'll get it. This little girl just really appealed to him, and yet she had some kind of medical problem that of course could not be solved in Haiti. And so Mitch decided to take her home with him to New York, where his wife and him had been married for, I'm going to say, approximately 15 years. And at first he wanted nothing to do with having a family. And then they did decide to have a family, and then they couldn't have a family. And so this little chica came into their lives. And it's a story of this little girl going through the medical system. And whatever she had is a rare disease. And they took her through all kinds of medical processes trying to save her. And no matter what, this little one was the bossiest, cutest little thing ever, putting her hands on her hips and saying, Mr. Mitch, that's what she called him, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And that's me, putting my hands on my hips and saying, why aren't you doing it my way? And controlling. And it's remarkable if you listen to the audible version of this, because Mitch actually recorded conversations with her. And so every once in a while through the book, he pops in her actual voice talking. And of course, I don't want to give this book away, but it's a tremendously powerful book, because they didn't just like this little girl, they adored her. They did everything they could to make her comfortable, to make her happy, and to make her feel loved. And at the same time, challenging her to be a good girl, to do things by the rules, you know? And it's the most endearing book I've ever read because I so relate to that little girl so many times. Her voice, her tone of voice, her attitude. It's just a remarkable book. It makes me cry to think about it. And I've read it, I don't know, 3-4 times and listened to it. Listening to it on Audible, I recommend rather than actually reading it. But it's just totally captivating for me. And what it did for me is made me realize that, you know, growing up as a child, there were many, I hope I don't cry. There were many things that were really difficult as a child. I didn't have a childhood. Being the oldest of 8, you can imagine that my mom and dad relied on me and my couple of other siblings to do a lot of stuff that took me out of childhood. I had to be a grown-up really fast, doing dishes, doing laundry, cleaning the house. I did a lot of that. I'll tell you what, by the time I was 18, I was out the door. I was so done. And I said I'd never have kids. But guess what? I have 3 boys and well, they're adults now, but that's another story. I could tell you all about that. But the reason I say this was so powerful for me, it made me realize that this little one with her bossy, demanding attitude was so endearing and loved by her parents. And I know that my mom and dad loved me as well. And they did everything they could to be the best parents that they could with the tools that they had. And I'm forever grateful to Mitch Albom for writing this book. It's so relatable for me, and I recommend it to anybody who wants to learn a little bit about their childhood. Maybe it'll ring a bell with you. Honestly, it should have been called Bossy Little One. That's right, Rebecca. Thank you. Anyways, go ahead, go get it, either on Audible or whatever electronic version that you read books. And I'm sorry, I don't have anything else. It's a powerful book. Go
It's
ahead.
all good. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great share. And the name of that last book, what was the title again? Was it
It's Finding Chica.
Finding Chica? Yeah, that's the one. Rebecca put it in the chat there. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was great. What was the first ever audiobook you bought?
The first audiobook?
Do you remember?
Oh gosh, no, I don't. I've had Audible for, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years, but I have a list of books that I've read. I've read a lot of Brene Brown. I used to absolutely adore her. And then I kind of got tired of the message and stopped reading hers. So
yeah,
many.
it's very interesting. So I have 2 libraries. I have audiobooks and Audible, my audiobooks and Audible. And I have had it for years, and I have a subscription to one or the other going all the time, and I'll switch it. And it's quite interesting as you start going through your library, it tells a lot about where you're at in your life. It's very interesting. So the first one, actually, let me spotlight, remove you from spotlight. There we are. So the first one, the first book I've ever read was, I'm going to put it on there. I don't know if it'll scan or not. It's called, yeah, there we go. Delivering Happiness. And it was about, I think it's Tony Hessian. It was about Zappos, I think it was called. Like they would deliver shoes. It was so cool. And it was all about customer service and how he started it. And it was about he would go in a store, buy the shoes, and then ship them. Like it's a crazy story. And they're all about customer service. And they would test him sometimes. He was with some friends and they said, oh yeah, we're gonna test it. So they would call the call center for Zappos, which was shoes. And they said, oh yeah, we're in town. We don't know where we're at and we want to have a pizza. Well, the customer service agent would actually find them the pizza places that were open and answer their questions. Like this guy was incredible when it came to customer service. Does anybody know who bought Zappos? Was it Amazon? Does anyone know?
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, it kind of got lost, but the guy sold it for millions and millions. And he really started with nothing. He was one of the very first people to sell anything online. So that was fantastic. So thank you so much, Lorraine. It's kind of cool to read a book that brings you back to your childhood
My
and makes
pleasure.
you feel,
Thank you.
yeah. And our next storyteller, oh, she's gone. Okay, well, I'm going to show you while Tamalee's coming back in my other collection. No, it's actually in this one. There's a book that I've listened to it the most of any book I've ever owned. And now I have to find it. I had it queued, but then of course I went to the other one. Hold on. And it is from The Secret, the book The Secret. And it is incredible. Well, now I have to, oh, there it is. So it is called The Secret, The Power. So this book here, it's kind of hard to, there we go, it's focusing. It is absolutely incredible. If you're looking for a book to help your mindset, there is not a book more powerful than this book. And it's the lady that wrote The Secret that narrates it. And she talks, it's everything that's in The Secret, but with the music in the background and repeating. And go listen to a little excerpt of it and you'll see it's one of the most incredible book. And I gave it to my niece when she was really struggling in life, and it really helps with your mindset. And it talks about how everything starts with love, and it's got the dramatic music in the background. It's absolutely one of the most powerful audiobook. You will listen to this book over and over and over. Very well spent money. All right, Miss Tamalee, it's your turn, all the way from the East Coast. So you guys, we are in Alberta, Nova Scotia, and France. That's how spread out we are right now at this moment in noon. You can see in the screen here, Connie's walking around. I muted her. I'm going to bring her on after Tamalee so she can share what's going on, but she's lost somewhere in France, walking. So we'll bring her on after Tamalee's story. So hi, Tamalee, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. My dogs decided that they had a bathroom emergency, like right now. It's like
really? We roll with the punches. And it's kind of funny. I was emceeing a big international event on the weekend, and there's always, as an MC, I don't do a lot during the event, but you have to be ready at any time because somebody freezes, something happened, and you got to jump in. So that's just part of doing it.
Just roll with it.
Just roll with it. So I am so happy you're here. I love it when you share your stories with us because you're an amazing storyteller, and both of you, everybody here, most of you actually, I should say, are members, and I just love it. It's so cool. And it's so cool to be international. That's amazing.
It is super cool.
All right, so I'm going to turn it over to you and tell us about the book that changed your world.
And this book really did. So I'm just wondering, can you tag me?
Yes, I'm going to spotlight you. Sorry about that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to talk about this book. Now, on my screen, it's backwards.
We're good, though. We see it right.
Okay, good. When the Body Says No, The Hidden Cost of Stress by Dr. Gabor Mate.
Could you show the book again, please?
Sure.
I just want to do a screenshot.
Or is that better?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. And this book is about 20 years old. And it was kind of like a gateway book for me for so much of what I've done since I read this book. It opened my eyes and led me to many, many really, really significant changes in my life. Yeah, I want to share about that. So for a little bit of background for people who don't know me, I'm a registered nurse. Here in Nova Scotia, and so this book really intrigued me. I bought it when I was living in Canmore, and I was amazed right from the start of this book about what this fellow was talking about. Now, as a nurse, I had seen patterns in people that associated with diseases. Right. And we were never taught about any connections with diseases and personalities and so on. But Dr. Mate, who's now a very famous doctor, a very famous author, he just wrote a book called The Myth of Normal. But he talks about this, his experience as a physician, looking after people. He was a palliative care physician. He's worked in addictions and trauma. He's a very skilled trauma therapist and has taught professionals all over the world in his approaches to trauma therapy. And this was early in the days when he wasn't terribly well known. But so this book is about the hidden costs of stress, and he shares many stories from his practice, and then he brings in research and things that other people have found, and it opened my eyes in a way that I had never had open before, about our bodies, about our consciousness, and how stress happens in our lives, how it shapes us, and how it can lead to illness and can lead to healing for us. And so I'm going to read a few things from here, and actually I'll explain a little bit further on, but part of my own therapy here is that normally I prepare and I rehearse so that it's smooth, and I didn't do that this time. I know this stuff. I can sit down with anybody and have a glass of wine and I could tell you this stuff, but when I have an audience, suddenly it's different, and my mechanism has been to be in control. And so I prepare and I have it all written, and I don't stray from my script, and now I'm allowing myself to be more spontaneous. So it's a growth step for me. I'll share a few of the quotes from the book, and then I'll talk about some of the things that it meant for me, and how it led to other things that I've done professionally and just as a person. So he says, so how can stress be transmuted into illness? Stress is a complicated cascade of physical and biochemical responses to powerful emotional stimuli. Physiologically, emotions are themselves electrical, they're chemical and hormonal discharges of the human nervous system. Emotions influence and are influenced by the functioning of our major organs, the integrity of our immune defenses, and the workings of many circulating biological substances that help govern the body's physical state. Repression, disassociating the emotions from awareness and relegating them to unconscious realm, disorganizes and confuses our physiological defenses so that in some people, these defenses go awry, becoming destroyers of health rather than its protectors. And so, like that, oh yeah, it's a phenomenal book. I mean, this one is so dog-eared and well used. I actually bought a book, second copy, just to loan to people, because it's so well worth sharing, and I was so excited about the opportunity to share this with you. So he gives a few examples about people with different illnesses, right? So he talks about some multiple sclerosis patients that he had, and about certain personality tendencies that they had. And now when you're thinking about this, every single thought and every single feeling creates chemistry in our body, just like that quote I was saying. And that chemistry interacts and influences everything in your body, right? And we also know about epigenetics now too, where we've got our DNA strands, and there's a whole bunch of chemicals on the outside of the DNA strands, and all the emotions of stress and of wellness and happiness and joy, all of that chemistry actually changes the nature of the coating around our DNA, which allows different things to be expressed differently. And that's part of epigenetics. So how you think and how you feel has huge influence on how your body functions. And then a persistent pattern of this, of certain thinking patterns, then manifests in our body and can often manifest as illness. So he talked about, like with MS patients, let's see here, internal stress becomes repressed and then invisible with these individuals as a rule, generally. There's a conditioned helplessness that starts off in childhood. So we started off life and we, when we were sort of like newborns and growing, we look around at the world around us and start to form sort of ideas and rules of our understanding about what this world is all about. If I cry too much, my mom won't come and nurture me, or if I cry, I'm always going to be picked up. So it's always good to cry and let your needs be known. Right from that start, we start to develop an understanding of the world. And as adults now, like all of that stuff is so sort of far back embedded, but it's still we engender those patterns that persist. And so this is how they talked about, like with people with MS, people with Lou Gehrig's disease. He talked about, as a rule, like a lot of the researchers or people treating people with Lou Gehrig's disease would say that they're so nice, like they're so easygoing, they're self-effacing. And there's a pattern that has established itself for them in early in life that became personality that has like overwhelmingly manifested more. Oh, thank you, Bridget, for them. It's not to say that this causes it, but when you're looking at people with certain diseases, you can see that these consistent patterns. And I know I've seen that in patients that have a lot of heart problems. There's a tension there as well, that like they talk about type A personalities are often personalities that people have higher tendency of having heart problems as well. And so no physician, and none of my teachers in nursing school, nobody talked about this as an influence in disease. We were taught about the pathophysiology, we were taught about microbiology and chemistry, and that the drugs or surgery were the treatments, the only treatments and the only explanation, like for diseases was, that it wasn't about personality, it wasn't about what you ate, it wasn't about your lifestyle. These things just happened, and I think that our medical science has just changed so much since then. So this book just opened my eyes to a whole new way and validated the things that I was seeing as a nurse. So we talked about, like the ALS, people with ALS, I should say, having emotional deprivation in childhood. And then he talked about breast cancer, and noticed that, like, there was a study where 42% of women with breast cancer were noted to having huge amounts of stress in their lives. And there was a research study that he quoted as well, another one, where a study in Germany where they took 40 women who were did not have breast cancer and 40 women that did have breast cancer, and they looked at the psychobiological traits, and they could predict the people that would have breast cancer 96% of the time, accuracy. Like, that is just stunning. That's just based on the psychology of the individuals. That blew me away, right? He goes on, he talks about lung cancer, and there's a discipline in medicine now, they call psychoneuroimmunology, where they are looking at all the psychological states influencing the immune system, and how that in turn, the cascade of hormones and neurochemicals and other chemicals that are created will influence the immune system and cause it to behave in different ways. On the other side too, we also know there's research that people who, like, when they fall in love, that people are actually more resilient. They're happy in that, but the chemicals that are created by the emotions of, say, being in love make people outrageously healthy in that state, right? And there's a fellow, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who talks about that. He wrote a book called The Honeymoon Effect, and he basically said, like, why can't we create this for ourselves with intention? The types there are type of practices that we can do to actually create those states of greater resilience and help our bodies turn things around from our habitual patterns that we get into, that we don't even recognize often as problematic. Now, he also talked about prostate cancer, but he also said, like, is there a personality for cancer? So we got type A personalities, like I already mentioned, about the angry, intense, fast, aggressive kind of people, or behaviors, I should say. And then type B personality, which is more reasonable, accommodating, and laid back. And then their type C personality tends to be people who were extremely cooperative and patient, passive, lacking assertiveness, and just sort of accepting of things as being like a trait that predisposes people more to cancers, which is really interesting. There's been research on that has actually borne that out to be true. One of the things like when you talk about the type C personalities is that when they looked at melanoma research, that there was more people with melanoma that had a type C type of personality, which is really intriguing. And there are people that have spontaneous remissions from melanoma, which it's not often explained. It's not explained in medical research, but the thing is that the people that have those remissions tend to be people that are not type C personalities, that maybe get melanoma, sun exposure, and then they develop the hyperpigmentation and the cancer, but then they go into a remission because there's the internal resources mobilized to create a chemistry that's different than the type C personality. And so it was really astounding to me to think that we could actually think or behave our way into wellness. That was radical. Think 20 years ago, my gosh, that was radical. And this was like, just, yes, relax. Yeah. Thank you, Rebecca. He also talked about Crohn's and the inflammatory processes there. I suffer from colitis, and I recognize myself that there's actually this, and as I mentioned at the start of the talk, is the element of control that somewhere in my early life, I recognize now how the way I understood the world, that I was going to be much more safe and secure if I was more in control of things in my environment. I was more in control of me. And this led, to a pattern that has established itself very, very well over decades. And, well, it set up the conditions that predisposed me to colitis. But it also, in that, is the hopefulness is knowing, you're understanding that maybe there's a way to respond to this by becoming self-aware and making some intentional changes about that. And so, there's this book is full of resources. He's got references to the journals that he references, lots and lots and lots of stories, and he interviewed many people for this book to look at these patterns and come to some conclusions about that. But what I want to share now, after having given you that background, is he has the 7 A's of healing, and it's these 7 A's of healing that ended up becoming the path for me, where I radically changed my life, and they became guiding principles for me. I realize now, and especially when I was researching, just reviewing this here and thinking, yeah, that this book just continues to give me wisdom that continues to help me heal and become more and more of what I'm supposed to be, and more authentic in life, and take big risks that are leading to good rewards and experiences. So the 7 A's of healing, he talks about acceptance, the willingness to accept how things are, the courage to accept the negative thinking and inform our approach to the future. He talked about a compassionate relationship with ourselves. So I think about learning meditation. I took up meditation after I read this book, and I quit after 6 months because I thought meditation was making me angry. And and then realized no, it just allowing me to be aware that I was angry. And by being aware of that and accepting that that was truthful, then there was something that I could actually do about that. But again, this compassionate relationship with ourselves is of recognizing that I'm angry. Don't be angry at myself for being angry, but just recognizing that this is the way it is, and taking responsibility. And then there's awareness. He says all those seeking to heal or to remain healthy need to reclaim the lost capacity for emotional truth recognition. It means learning the signs of stress that we have in our own bodies, and how our bodies telegraph to us when our minds have missed the cues. And I think in this busy life, there's a lot of cues that we miss. We get so busy with agendas or social media, with our lives, and having that time for stillness and becoming aware of what's coming up, we can tune in much more authentically to what our body's trying to tell us is going on. I think our body is always talking to us. I think this is what the book is. When the body says no, the body is saying no, and disease comes as a result of not listening. And then there's anger, and he talks about not only does repression of anger predispose people to disease, but experiencing anger has been shown to promote healing, or at least prolong survival. And now that made me think of a book I read, I think with Dr. Norman Cousins, where he talked about a lady in her 80s who had a diagnosis of cancer, and the doctor arrogantly said, "I give you 1 year." And this little old lady said, "F you." And she walked out of the office. She formed her own support group. And 10 years later, in her 90s, she was still going strong. So she was angry, and that mobilized her. And so there's something about the chemistry, there's something about the energy of responding authentically and responsibly in our anger, that it is so important in healing. And that denying that, especially as women, we are taught to deny our anger, to deny and that we're entitled to be angry, and when situations present, and not to express it. And that's not healthy. It's not healthy for any of us. And then the next one that he has here, the A's of healing, is autonomy. From a simple biological perspective, it may appear that survival of the physical organism is nature's primary purpose, but there is this personal boundaries between ourself and other. Autonomy is the first development of the internal center of control. So losing a sense of control actually creates, again, thinking patterns and chemistry in the body, and that can undermine health. And there's actually a condition called learned helplessness, where people won't even defend themselves. And you think about say, people when they're in abusive situations, that they don't seek help and safety. They don't recognize that because of it. And then attachment and our connection to the world. Our connection is so vital. That's why I think, Women Talk is so important. Here we are connecting women across the globe, having community. I'm way far away from where I grew up, and I don't have any family left in Canada, but I know that I have my connection with my friends is strong. And there was just recently a lot of fires just outside of Halifax. It was really close to my house. And I had a flood of emails and phone calls and people wanting to know how I was and offering me sanctuary. And, even though I might, my tribe might be spread out a lot, my tribe's there, and I feel that, that connection. And, ever since reading this book too, I have always made it a conscious intention for myself to maintain those connections.
I'm just gonna jump in here, Tamalee, because we have about 15 minutes left.
I'm sorry, okay, sorry.
You're in your element, I can tell. Like, you're totally in your thinking head. I want to know though, what are some of the big changes you made because of that book?
Well, see, this is it, is that before then I was unaware of all of these things. Right? And just the idea of a health practice is recognizing and accepting the truth of things as they are, right? That profound. I was taught, you got to fight against stuff. You got to fight. You got to work hard against stuff. If something comes into your life that you don't like, well, then you just got to get into it and change it, and not actually stopping to recognize what was the wisdom of why is this even here, right? It reoriented my whole perspective. Instead of sort of having a battle with life, I learned to start to flow, right? And realize that actually, yeah, we're supposed to flow. We're supposed to we're supposed to be more aware and flow, and that there's a lot of help in that. I think, my parents, God bless them, but they denied their own illnesses or whatever. They didn't complain, mind you. They came from Europe during the war, and right, it was a whole different set of times in that. So this book took all that I was conditioned to be and flipped it upside down on my head. This was my midlife crisis. This was the start of it all. I went to the Institute of Heart Math, which is another place that teaches about how to manage stress, how to recognize. I became a coach in that. I joined NEFTI, and I became a trauma-informed therapist with emotional freedom technique. And I got into meditation, and I got into Tai Chi, And it changed my whole relationship with the way I nursed, right? With people and the way I nursed. And nurses were taught to be task oriented, right? About the do stuff. We got our list of things to do and off you run. And realized that actually my presence itself could be a healing presence.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that
That's
the
really
quality that I brought to my patients of my state, because I'm doing all this stuff, became its own healing tool. And that's
So
profound.
if you had to take one thing out of the book
Oh my
to
God.
give to people, and I'm only giving you one, there is no negotiation here. You can only give us one, take one thing out of the book. What would it be?
Whatever you do in life, you must always strive to find your authentic center and acknowledge it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I ran on, and I could have gone on. And like I said, if we were sitting on having a glass of wine.
I know somebody wrote in the comment, oh, we got to have a part 2 of this. There's so much in there. And I think you being a nurse also, you know, like it really speaks to you.
Sorry, I don't mean to do that. But see, this is again my control. If I was in control, I had it all written out, I would have practiced it and timed it, and I would have known exactly when to stop. So this is the first time I've done this.
And it worked perfectly fine. That was good. No, I loved it. And thank you. And I think there's people here that got really good nuggets. Now, there was a question from Vicky. Let me just see, Ms. Parkinson. Do they talk about Parkinson's in the book?
I've seen other stuff about Parkinson's. Yeah, he does.
She'll find it.
Yeah.
So while you look that up, maybe Vicky, do you have a particular book that has really impacted you? And you need to unmute yourself.
I have to unmute myself there. I have actually switched my reading styles or my reading preferences in the last year or so. No, the last probably 3 or 4 years, I've started reading a lot of fiction. I read so many nonfiction books of the type that Tamalee was telling us about. I really felt that I was like, I had read so many self-improvement books that I was about 3 books away from being perfect, and it really scared me. So
love it. That's funny.
Yeah, my husband and I are both interested in history. We love history, and so we enjoy historical fiction books. I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of that. And I love plot twists, and I love character development and seeing how authors do that. I also I majored in English and history at university, and I also love to see how authors string words together. I really appreciate eloquence in writing, and I guess one of the most eloquent books I ever read was a book called Ireland by Frank Delaney. And we've traveled to Ireland a few times, my husband and I love it there. But this is just a very eloquent book that takes us right through historical times, like almost prehistorical times up to modern times, and a really cool plot twist at the end. And it's all based around the life of what they call a Shawnee, or a storyteller, who back in the day would knock at the door, and the people in the home had to let him in, and he would spend several nights there, and he would tell stories to the community, and then he'd move on. And it was just, yeah,
Very
eloquent,
cool.
fascinating, historical, and enjoyed every moment of it. I've really come to enjoy, both my husband and I have come to enjoy Louise Penny, who's a Canadian author, writes about Three Pines in a fictional town called Three Pines in Quebec. and just really, they're mysteries, but great character development again, and we have really enjoyed those stories as well.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thanks
Did
for
you find
asking.
any information on Parkinson, Tamalee? Is it in the book?
Not in a reference. It just a.
It wasn't in there.
comment.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to
thanks.
recommend another book. If you're looking to share personal stories, family stories in a very funny way, you must read or listen. Actually, it's an audiobook. So David, oh, and then my phone turns off. David Sedaris, and it's called Calypso. OMG. He is one of the best storytellers. He will take some innocent little thing that happens in his family and turn it into the most hysterical story. Like, this is one of the best lessons if you need, some fun. Because we all have those, mother, father, sister-in-law that's crazy. And he just turns it into the best of stories. I love this audiobook. Oh, look at that. Anyway, Rebecca, do you have a book that you want to share with us that you've really enjoyed?
Yes, and I apologize. I do have a 21-month-old,
It's
so
all
there's a
good.
little bit of background noise. It's really cool to be here. I'll be quick. Yeah, because I'm still I would say a new mom. I barely have time for books or for myself. So, but the cool thing that's happened to me lately is that I found kind of my faith again, and I'm not here to preach or anything, but I've just kind of been picking some things like out of the Bible, like Psalms, just words of encouragement. And because one day, like recently, I just realized I do get really angry. And when you were talking about that, Tamalee, I was like, yeah, that was me, getting so upset over the littlest things and really falling in the trap of sometimes what social media shows. It's like, I was following all these mom pages and they were just like, oh, the mom anger or whatever it is, mom rage, it's real. And I was like, wait, like I'm literally that mom and I don't want to be that. Like, what is happening here? This is not who I was. I know how come I'm like this now, especially when the little man, my son, needs me to be, the best version of myself. Here he goes again.
You should maybe write a book about that and title it Mom Rage.
Yeah. So it's
Could
been
be
cool.
fun.
It's been cool. So I've been kind of finding like words of encouragement for myself, and I have found that it's really all it is just me needing to take a step back, and finding those words of encouragement through books or you know, just empowering speakers. That's why I wanted to be here because I was like, I know there's women on here that Bridget knows because Bridget is amazing. I was working the event that she was emceeing at, and I'm just like blown away by her. And so, yeah, that's why I'm here. So I can read books that will continue to encourage me and be, a badass and a mom and be excited to be it. So that's
Love
all.
it. Thank you. Jennifer, what about you? Do you have a book that you really...
I have a book. I didn't prepare because I didn't even.
No, that's not about being prepared. There's just kind of a round table.
All right. Actually, it's really funny. Tamalee, I could have listened to you for hours. You hit the nail on the head with what I'm interested in. In fact, I actually think there's a business in there and I'm meeting next week to like get that going. But that being said, my favorite book so far has been Shoe Dog. And Bridget, I don't know if you've ever met it, if you've ever read it, it would be probably up your alley. Because every book that you've recommended, I'm like, yep, love it, read it. Basically the one I read is called Shoe Dog. It's by Phil Knight, and it's the story of the creation of Nike, the company. And honestly, there's a movie out right now. The movie is awesome. The book is 1,000 times better. And it really shows us persistence and, resilience and so many other things that if you're doing your own business, man, these are all the skills you need, right? As Bridget knows, I run my own business as well. And holy smokes, those are all the things you really, really need to be
Cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
You're coming over for a porch talk tomorrow, and it's going to be really nice.
I'm bringing a bottle of wine, man.
Love it. Juliana, if you had one book, you're muted, my friend. If you had one book that you would like to share with us, what would it be?
A secret language of your body. Because now, whenever something is going on and I'm having a day and there's a pain, I can refer to it. And not always does everything resonate, but it gives me, where's my work today? And so, you know, lately my shoulder has been hurting. And so it's the weight of the world. And what am I holding on to rather than releasing? So this has been, well, I call it like the Bible in the woo-woo world, because it's really important. And a lot of people don't subscribe to it, and that's okay. You know, it definitely is something, it's a new way of thinking, because I do believe that emotions are held in the body because we're energetic beings, and there's always a word of truth in it.
What was the name of it again? The
Secret Language of Your Body by Ina Segal. And it's really powerful. The other one is, you know, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. You know, anything by Louise Hay. I mean, I could go on and on, because these are the types of books that help me show up every day.
Love it.
Happy,
And
healthy.
showing up, you do in a big way now. Thank you. Sorry, I'm being a little bit rude, but we're 1 minute away, and I want an update from Connie because it's hysterical what's happening to her. Simone, what's the one book you would like to share with us?
I'll talk really fast, but I read I train sales, so I read a lot of different marketing and sales books, so I can guide you to a lot of those. But my story really quickly is, after my parents died, I wanted a tattoo, and I'm a huge Nora Roberts fan, and I knew my tattoo had to be of a butterfly. And I was talking to someone, and I came into the bedroom, and off my bookshelf had fallen a book of Nora Roberts, and on the front cover was a butterfly. And to this day, I still can't find that book, but my butterfly represents that book. So for me, that book changed my life in a specific spiritual way.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Put the title in the comment if you could. That would be awesome. Connie.
Hi, I found my place finally.
You found your place. So Connie was lost in France. Some lovely couple had given her a ride to a campsite, which took her off course 20 miles.
Right. Yeah, I walk from London. I'm in Reims, France right now, and I'm my third way through France, and then I go through Switzerland, and then I go down the coast of Italy to Rome, and I'll be there in August. So yeah,
love it. And you're taking.
I just paid 42 euros for a room to myself and a breakfast, and I'm thinking about staying in Reims tomorrow night. Maybe I should take a rest day, right?
I think you deserve it. So do you have a book?
Yes, I do. I read it a long time ago. It's about 700 pages, I think. It's called The Big Green Tent, and it's by this Russian lady, and she gives this historical story about 3 guys from their childhood to their death, about their lives in, I believe it's St. Petersburg, Russia. And you know, when so it starts in the 1940s, I think, when they're kids, and it goes to the present day, and it's their view on life and how they see each other and what happened to them, you know, in Russia and the government and stuff. It's very fascinating. I like nonfiction books. I like memoirs, and I like I like nonfiction books about people, biography. And that's why I wrote my own memoir, my Behind the Wall. Yeah.
So is it a published book, Behind the Wall?
Yes, my book has the 3rd edition out by Dorrance Publishers. They're on the East Coast in USA. But but the big green tent has been out for quite a while. It's a very thick book, but it's very engaging if you like history and stuff like that.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So thank you everybody for being here. It's 1:01. Our hour is over. That was a little bit different. Today was more of a share than storytelling, but it's kind of nice. We have 9 people. That's our first lunch hour meeting, and I think we're going to be doing more. Our next event will be outside on June 21st for summer solstice. So Tamalee, hop on the plane. Come on and join us. Oh, it looks like somebody's just joining us now. There must have been a different time zone. No, it's not online. We are actually meeting in a park here in Calgary for summer solstice.
Okay. All right.
So I don't think you'll be joining us for that one.
No.
So, hi, Rachel. I think we might have had a time zone screw up. We're just ending. So, are you a new member or you just joined to watch? Yeah, you just come and join, didn't you?
I was invited by the lovely Juliana, and I thought it was, well, I'm Eastern Standard Time, so it's 3 here. And she said 12 Mountain, and I'm like, that's only 2 hours, I think. And I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, it's okay. So before I let you go, we close it. So it was all about our favorite book. Do you have one book that stands out to you? One book.
Just one? One?
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to pick one book to tell us, read that book, what would it be?
Oh my God, the 4 Agreements comes up right away. But I mean, there's so many.
The 4 Agreements, you said?
Yep, the 4 Agreements. I might have it right.
Yay.
Where I don't know, I have it somewhere.
Love that book.
Yeah, yeah, we got Juliana and I got to see his son together at CYL. So that was amazing. Yeah. I'm sorry I missed it.
I know, I'm sorry, but you'll come back to the next one. Juliana will let you know when our next online event. And remember, 2 hours difference. We're 2 hours behind you.
Okay.
This whole time zone thing, it drives me crazy. Connie is in France, who's speaking.
Yeah, I'm 8 hours ahead.
You have 8 hours difference.
Just remember, west go back, east go front. That's the way I remember it.
East go front, yeah.
Okay.
Or I just think Toronto thinks they're the center of the world, so of course we have to be behind them. Where are you located, Rebecca?
Rachel.
I used to live in Calgary, actually. I recently moved to Black Falls, Alberta. It's a tiny town.
I know where that is. That's not that far.
Not too far, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming, Rachel. You'll have to come back and see what it's all about next time. And we do this every week, pretty much. Sometimes we don't have one online if we're in person. And I have my workshop on Saturday. If you're looking to have some stories, anybody that's here, you pay only $40. It's the regular price is $88. So if you want to attend, let me know and I'll send you the coupon code. Women Talk members, you just use your Women Talk member coupon code. And yeah, we're going to have fun Saturday and come up with a pile load of ideas so that you guys can come here and share it. Mwah. Thanks for being here. And
okay, bye everybody.
Bye everybody.
Bye everyone.
Bye. Okay. Okay.
Don't repent. So that was oh my God, Tamalee, I was laughing. I was watching you go and I'm like, oh my God, that woman is so in her element. She is so lost in the time zone. I was laughing because usually you are like dead all the time. And I'm like, oh, look at her go. Like, that was awesome.
Thanks, I took a big risk and
yeah.
What you know, and what a safe environment to be able to do that.
Totally. It was wonderful. People enjoyed it. You obviously gave great information to people. There were comments about this. So, and yeah, there's a couple of people I think that your recommendation will be great for them.
So,
And
thank
you and I should talk. I would love to come in your town and do an event.
I would love it too. And I have a friend here who would be just an absolutely fabulous partner to do that. She's one of the sparkliest humans I've ever met.
Oh,
And
nice.
she's just magical, and she's got a lot of stage presence, right? She does a lot of theater and
Oh, that'd be excellent. So have you and her presenting, and then I'm just gonna fly down. So all you need to do really is let's see if we can get a little private dining room somewhere at a
okay.
restaurant.
Yeah, it's like, September or so, September or October timeframe. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, anytime really, right? Because like even if we only had a dozen people, it helps you meet some people. Like we'll do some
Yeah.
marketing and invite people and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
And I'll come and visit. Because that's
That
the
would
thing
be so
for
much
me,
fun.
right? It's so cheap for me to fly.
Yeah.
So let's just do it. So yeah, so the next step is to find maybe a little private dining room somewhere where it fit maybe 20 people.
And there's actually a place in a town called Windsor, where they have that. So, and
Go
that
check it out and talk to them.
yeah, and I'll get my friend too, and she might
Yeah.
have some ideas too, and we'll see. I want her to come to one of these.
Yeah, just give her whenever you want, like send me your email address and I'll send her a free ticket for sure.
And oh, by the way, I can't get into the Women Talk website to look for the members area. Is it this story or
Story 23, always the same one.
story 20? Okay. I haven't done it this year, so maybe that's okay.
Like to get on our website, like with this all the members, like videos. Yeah, story. So the password is story, the same as your code.
Okay. I got
Perfect.
it. Have a good
Okay,
day.
we'll talk to you soon. Bye.